What's up, YouTube? In this video, I want to discuss just the whole topic of subjective versus objective and how, in reality, it's collective almost, and it's all, based upon what you perceive and how you connotate your environment and how your bias influences the way that you think, and not just because your bias is the way that you think, but your bias influences your actions, and how due to the differences in biases breeds the roller coaster of activity that causes progression and degradation and happy and sad and all the range of resentment and acceptance and different things like that, where we are an extension of each other, and that is very crucial to understand, that you have to be almost an individual within a group. You have to be strong and bold in the way that you think about certain things, but you also have to have a little bit of decency where you can still have humility and still understand that you are a fool at times. Like a wise man knows himself to be a fool, and you are truly somebody that you have to deal with your entire life. So why not try to take your experiences and convert it through into wisdom and ingrain it, especially if it's something that you're proud of and something that you are really passionate about. So don't fall into the illusion of interaction that is detrimental to your integrity and the way that you influence your environment. So always try, a big part of life is that we fill in the blanks a lot of times, and it's just the way that things are. Like our attention and our focus is very, pinpoint, and there's focal points of life, instead of like we focus on the grand scheme of things. Because I think if everybody focused on everyone and every time, that we would live in a society that is just truly like not really possible. It's not actually feasible. I feel like that the differences of the subjective interpretation and who you are in spirit, or whatever you want to call it, is what breeds a society of progression. Because in actuality, it's like, you actually have to be very grateful for when opportunities of turmoil or conflict or issues or things like that, like the negative qualities of experience, come into play, because those, like, you do very well, society builds and you build as a person, but as you have patterns that become like part of the algorithm and very ingrained, every once in a while a self-assessment or an issue or a conflict will ensue, and it's going to force the self-assessment, and the conflict is actually the solution to the issue. And not only is it the solution, but it's a stepping stone to a new hierarchy of intelligence, almost, because you are progressing by having to deal with a problem. And by dealing with problems, we build, like, there's like really two ways of dealing with problems. You can, or three ways really. You can do the fight, you can fight it, you can run from it, or you can build a callus of the mind almost. And there's a shit ton of ways to deal with the problem. I don't know, dude. This is all opinion based, obviously, but you can build a callus and numb yourself. You can run, or you can fight it. But in reality, you have to deal with it, and that's just life. It's deal with it. You are alive. You are existing. You are part of this, and by being a part of this, you define this, and that is very important to me and to your people around you, because you don't want to be a shell of potential, when you have potential to be truly expressive of who you are and what you're doing. So there are many topics that are like related to this, and so one of them is we have our back to perception. Like we have our and I kind of want to go into words too, but we have the way that the mind works. It's like once we recognize something as something, so like I just drew this picture. I don't really know what it is, okay? So it's got lines and stuff on it, but see, I can connotate it with all these different things. It's got lines, it's got circles, you know, it's got shading, blah, blah, blah. But it's a drawing, like all these things that we can coin this as that give it definition, and by relating to others and having integrity, we build connotations and bias and standards of what we refer to, and this helps breed a creative and a bountiful and dynamical way of looking at things, and a patient, light way too at the same time. But it's all the balance, the equilibrium, and this is opinion based as well, in my opinion, is an aspiration. Like that's something that we dream of. We dream of balance. We have goals every day to deal with things to reach that dream that we are aspiring for. But in my opinion, it's a dream is something that's kind of in the air and is not feasible, and a goal is something that is in the environment and is in like something that we can actually achieve and make progression through physically or mentally or whatever. And you are a big part of what you're thinking. I don't know. I just lost my train of thought at the same time. So hopefully that means something to somebody somewhere at some point, because it means something to me. So I guess it does already. But if you are there's like two ways to live life, and then there's like a constant way to live life. And the constant way to live life is to live. Like it's a choice. You know, people do take their own life and things like that. But still, a lot of people believe in the extension and transformation of energy and past lives and future lives and reincarnation and reaching fourth dimension and blah 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 blah. And more importantly, it's now, and you're living life, and this is what you're doing. So that's the constant. Maybe that's the balance, and that is like the just potential of what is. And then there's the polarizations of the two, and then there's hierarchies in between that build and build and build into this aspiration of what we are. And so you could look at things super positive, or you can look at things super negative. You look at things super feminine or super masculine, or you can look at things super subjective, or you look at them super objective. But in reality, it's you're looking at it, and you look at things as good or bad, or you know, round or fucking square and blah blah blah. And it's just all, more importantly, it's that you're looking at something and you're making a standard of what you're looking at, but you're also being able to have discipline enough to know that you, even through all your wisdom and all your experiences of life and everything that you've been through, that you deep down inside are still dynamical, and you are still open to change, because your environment is going to constantly present you with new opportunities to question and assess who you are and where you've been and like what you want to become. So there are things in life that like help us know who we are, other than, you know, living, and that is like expression of the self and declarations of the self, and knowing when you are in a situation that you do not think that is fundamentally on the side that is synergistic and harmonizing with your environment and things like that. And I don't know, it's a hell of a ride, that's for sure. And I feel like I do know quite a lot, but at the same time, that's something that that's an illusion, and that's me building, confidence in myself and in my interpretation to think that I am a willing and active and just relevant participant in this environment, because I'm giving myself respect and I'm giving myself energy to actually express my intention. But more than that, I'm expressing my perception. And we're all gonna have different perceptions. You can never truly perceive somebody else's perception, because literally it builds off each other, and it's like a paradoxical type event where it's like it's not really conceivable. But I think that we are, more importantly, need to focus on what we're doing now, have an understanding of the past, connotations, and have a plan, pre-plan, something, substance for the future. But understanding that right now is more relevant than any possible thing that's happened before us, and that's happened and that's going to happen after the moment. Because the moment's constantly blending into, a new thing. So like, don't become too attached to an object of the past or a potential object of the future, because the moment that's now is dynamically changing, and it never truly lasts. Like, it's a constant, but it's the structure of it is built where it's like a stream, and the water is of different, particulate matter, and it's like it's constantly flowing, and there's things that look the same, but deep down inside, it's always a constant progression of time, and that is breeding a process, and this is the process. So I want to be successful throughout the process, so that's what I'm doing now. So I hope everybody enjoys what they're doing in the moment right now, and if you watch this entire video, kudos to you, because you are one of the people who inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing, and I like what I'm doing. So love you guys.